Tuesday. Out here staying hydrated. Guys, welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show. I'm Anthony Totri. He's Shane Diefenbach. He's Shawn DePaz. Yes, it's Tuesday. How's everybody doing Tuesday?
Not as hydrated as you are. I actually need to drink water.
This is actually the first glass of water I've had all day, so probably me saying that I'm hydrated is probably a lie. I'm working to get
You're
hydrated.
in the process. You're
Remember what you said to me when you accidentally rubbed against my knee?
It was soft as hell.
It means I'm hydrated, baby.
Yeah. You didn't comment on it though when I said it.
Because
at the time.
it's like when a guy hits a game winner and he's walking off the court and somebody yells, "That was awesome!" Like, he's not gonna be like, "You're right, that was awesome." It's just like, yeah, I know.
Say thank you.
They don't say that though.
I didn't like
you,
go out of my way.
You having nice skin is not the same thing as a professional athlete.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, maybe it is. Maybe it is. LTC saying we're here.
I mean, do you have that kind of commitment? Do you have like a extensive skincare routine
for your thighs?
Not at all. I just
for your
hydrate.
legs?
I don't need it.
It wasn't like, I just want to be clear, I didn't go out of my way to touch your leg.
That's why I said accidentally.
That's
Yeah.
a fair clarification.
Yeah. But you know how like if I were to boom, right? It's like it's hard and it like bounces off. Him, it like rolled. It's like I went boom and it was like boom, you know?
Well, that has nothing to do with
Move on. Start the show.
No, you didn't get it. We
Start the
started.
show.
We've been going.
Start the actual show.
Okay, let's talk ASU football then for a quick second. Why don't we?
Before we get back to skin.
Before we get back to skincare routines, yes. Guys, we've all been out to practice a couple times now. And I think one of the things, aside from how practice is run, the energy, the vibes in general, that has stood out has just been the sheer number of recruits and families that have been out there. And it's not just like when Shawn Aguano became interim head coach and it was like one massive day of recruits out at practice of local guys, right? I think I have seen more recruits and families and parents out at these ASU practices just in the first week and change than I did at all when Herm was here.
Yeah.
What do you guys take from having so many young guys just come out with their parents specifically to some of these practices so early on in Kenny's tenure? Because I feel like for a first-year coach, it'd be pretty easy to wait on that whole thing just to make sure you got your bearings underneath you. That kind of is the opposite of what Kenny's approach has been.
It's confusing to me because you know what, it's not, because he has an environment in his practices that's fun to watch. And I wouldn't say they're embarrassed, but the other coaches just didn't have that. They didn't have any draw. Like they could have. I bet Herm could have gotten a lot of kids that had his practices.
I'm sure he could have gotten a lot of parents.
Yeah.
Parents love Herm.
But there was nothing to see.
Yeah.
There's nothing to see, just low energy. Like, this is a real fun environment, and you can hear it from the recruits firsthand on Twitter after they go there, or you can see it on their faces when we're at practice, and they just enjoy what's going on. And how could you not enjoy what's going on with some of the stuff they do in their practices and the energy they always have?
And I mean, strategically speaking, why wait? Like, why wait until you've lost a couple games and the energy is not as high and it's later into spring or whatever? Like, the energy is not going to be any higher than it is right now. So why not bring them all out now? And you could tell that Kenny is he's a showman. He likes putting on a show for the kids and their families. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm not surprised by it at all. It's just Kenny does not stop working ever, and BC and samples don't ever stop working. This is just kind of, I think, what you should expect from ASU football for as long as Kenny Dillingham is the head coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that sticks out to me in terms of the families coming out, right? Because I've been to practices before, and whether that be here or other places, and there aren't parents. There are maybe they're allowed one person to come with them plus themselves, right? And they're there for practice, whatever the vibes are, what they are for a Division I collegiate program. But just walking around and listening to some of the parents' casual conversations, right? Whereas like there was one specific conversation that I had heard where there was two parents talking about how they went on a visit to Washington or they went on a visit to Colorado, and they were talking about how shitty the weather was, right? But that is something that I turn to Shane. I'm like, this is something that, like, whether it's intentional or not, and just the luxury of being in Arizona, is when the visit's over and there are casual conversations at dinner or on the way home or 5 months from now, and the only thing that you really remember is the fact that it wasn't snowing or raining, that the weather was beautiful, right? These are little things that the parents are constantly talking about without even trying to in terms of getting the kid to commit to a certain place.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, like I'm sure that obviously parents want their kids to go places that they'll be happy.
Yeah.
Coaches that will take care of them. Blah blah blah. But the parent doesn't really have to experience any of that. They're going to games, sitting at the stadium.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you right now, my mom would have much rather she enjoyed me playing baseball a lot more than she enjoyed me playing football. And I wasn't good at either. It's not like she enjoyed it because I was good. Because one of them, the weather was shitty all the time. The other one, it was always nice.
Yeah.
Like little things are gonna matter. Like that are gonna matter for parents. And I mean, again, because correct me if I'm wrong. Spring ball started earlier this year than it did last year, right? Because last year it was fucking miserable during spring ball. It was hot as shit.
I think it was 2 weeks was the difference. Though.
Yeah.
Not crazy.
Yeah, I mean it is.
Still.
Yeah, it's cooler
But
later into the year. This
I mean,
year,
it gets
but still.
hot fast.
It does, and
And I don't think it's a weather lineup for them. I think, ironically enough, or not ironically, they wanted it to line up so they could do the spring game on the Pats run. That way, you'd get the most draw out of it because people are already in Tempe.
For sure.
But I think that's the little things that stick out. Again, whether they're intentional or not, and I have to believe they're intentional just because every little thing that Kenny does and says has been intentional so far, right? I know he's the youngest Division I head coach, but my God, this guy is intelligent. He is smart. He is calculated. Everything he does is like laying the groundwork for something. And I think that's been the coolest part of the practices to see so far is you're obviously going to get some blue chip guys out there, and we'll get to them in a little bit. But just seeing a coach lay the groundwork for something that is hopefully here to stay for a long time, right? It is not like the coaches in the past that have been here or other places where it's just like, okay, this is what I do. This is how I run practice, and we're just going to carry on like I did at the last place because I'm making more money and it worked there, right? That's not the case with Kenny. Kenny is very intentional and very clear that what he is doing is trying to build a program that is eventually, hopefully, to be self-sustainable no matter who the coach is here, which is what you get at in Alabama, what you get at a Georgia, what you get at an Oregon, a USC. Like, you get at places that just have so much history, and they've had coaches in the past that have cared enough to build something, and I think that's been the cool part. It also helps, though, when you get the blue-chip players to come out at practice, right? We saw some of those guys in Colin Simmons. Vyron Ellison II. I just had to... I know you're going to love that name.
Elite.
3-star athlete. He was out at practice. Aston Hange, slot back and a kickoff returner. He was out at practice over the weekend. Diesel... Oh, I'm going to butcher this name.
Kamoku.
Go ahead. You do it. Full name.
Diesel Kamoku.
Diesel Kamoku. Yeah.
That's also an all-time name.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Diesel? Are you shitting me?
With
I
a
hope
Z,
it's pronounced Diesel. But
and then the one commit that ASU already does have in the 2024 class, Elijah Besa, he was out at practice as well. What do you think it does? And I want to have a conversation on both sides, right? You've got Elijah, who is already committed to ASU. So let's start with him. What do you think it does for him to already be committed to Arizona State and then now go out to some of these practices and see how it's run? Because I guarantee you there's not high school practices run the same way that Kenny's doing it.
Yeah, I mean, he's licking his chops. This is an example. It's kind of a lame example, but it's an example. When I was rushing a fraternity when I was a freshman, I got an early bid to the fraternity, and I still went to the rush events so I could then go and recruit myself, like and act like I was part of it.
Oh, okay.
And go recruit because I was already like, yeah, I'm going to be in your class. Let's be boys. So that's exactly what this guy's doing.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, hey, I committed, and this is why I'm watching these practices.
Yeah.
And he is now a recruiter.
Yeah.
And it's a huge thing. I mean, it's awesome to see.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like literally took the words right out of my mouth. Like
You're going to reference me as in college.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like when Shane was.
Yeah. No, but I was gonna like
That would be wild.
he committed here for a reason.
Exactly.
Right? And now it's one thing to have coach trying to sell you on something or have guys who are there try and sell you on something. But this is a guy who made his decision to commit here and still has the opportunity to go back on it realistically. Like, and he's there. That's a whole different kind of sales pitch when one of your peers is like, you're going through the same thing at the same time.
Yeah. Same
Except
class and
obviously
everything.
one's committed, Elijah's committed. But like, I think that's massive. And then from his perspective, like you took a certain leap of faith committing. You didn't know what Kenny Dillingham, what that was going to be like. Obviously, he can sell you on what he thinks his program is going to be like and how you could fit, but you don't know what the vibes are going to be. Because, I mean, look at Herm. He could tell you anything you want, but you get to the practice and like, this is kind of just like everything else, every other practice. He comes here, he's like, oh, I made the right choice.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a lot easier to sell other guys, other recruits, that they would be making the right choice when you do firmly believe that you're making the right choice. And I have a hard time seeing how any player who has already committed to ASU could get to one of these practices and say, I'm not so sure anymore. Like, they just seem fun.
Yeah.
And like, also good practices. Like, you hear coaches actually coaching players, and you see the head coach actually coaching players. You didn't see that with Herm, because that was one thing I was always kind of looking around for Herm at practice. He's kind of just walking around, and I mean, he obviously coached at times, but it's nothing like Kenny. Like Kenny is doing every little thing, and also just like from a person perspective, like you want good guys on your program, and good guys will recognize like. I'll never forget seeing Kenny push equipment with an equipment manager. Like, coaches do not do that. And good guys will recognize that Kenny is a genuinely good person. And I think that will get him very far.
And going back to the whole parent conversation, right? Parents see that same thing.
Exactly.
They experience a lot of coaches too. But when somebody goes out of their way, when in reality, coaches don't normally do that, whether it's intentional or they're just distracted by a bunch of other things. Like, again, Kenny, very intentional, very purposeful with what he does. Like, he knew what he was doing.
And like, we've had this conversation about Mick Cronin a bunch, so I don't want to get details of it. But like, and there's plenty of parents who are older and can appreciate that kind of coaching style. But like me, for example, I have a very young mom. My mom had me when she was 21. If I was a recruit and she saw Mick Cronin yelling at his players the way he yells at his players, my mom would not want me going to that school. I can promise you that. And again, that's a case-by-case basis. There's plenty of parents who can't appreciate that kind of thing. But I don't think there's any player. I don't think you could go to a ASU practice and be like, I don't really think he's pushing his players enough. Like, I don't see how parents could have a problem with Kenny in the way that they could have a problem with some coaches. So like, yeah, like Kenny being a good person and seemingly really caring about his players is going to go a long way for parents, because obviously the kids are making the decision, but parents will be in their son's ear all the time.
Yeah.
And so having their approval can only help.
Yeah. How do you feel about some of these kids taking ASU as a first visit, as opposed to a visit, whether it be at the end or midway through their recruiting process?
You leave a big enough impact on a kid, it doesn't matter.
I like it. Right. That's what I was going to say earlier. Like, especially on Saturday when they were bringing out the basketball hoop. You're not forgetting that.
Yeah.
No other team is going to do that.
Or that it's time.
Yeah. Like, there's things about this practice that you're going to remember. And I think, if anything, them being first, when you go through all the entire process and you're sitting there and you're like, damn, but I still remember vividly my first visit. Like, I went through all of this and that's still the one that sticks out to me. That's got to mean something.
Yeah.
Plus they all start to kind of
exactly
mash together.
Exactly. And so you might be like, wait, what was the coach? So, like, what?
Yeah,
but you're not forgetting where the basketball hoop came out, or where Bruce Buffer was blasted over the loudspeaker.
Tone too. Yeah. So
exactly.
I'm fine with it.
Now every practice you go to is going to hopefully be a disappointment.
I know March Madness is going on, and basketball, whatever, was a lot of talk with Conyers and all that. I would have a very, very, very tough time believing that same whole basketball thing happens on the field if Colin Simmons is not there.
That's fair. Yeah, but like I said, Kenny's a showman. He knows what he's doing. Everything's calculated.
Absolutely. So I do want to get into that, about Colin Simmons, about the potential of the nation's top edge rusher in the 2024 class, the #1 player in Texas, potentially being a Sun Devil down the line. But before we do that, guys, I want to tell you about OGs. We know about the Happy Balance gummies. I've talked about how I have trouble sleeping. I know Saul has trouble sleeping. And melatonin just doesn't do the trick for me because it leaves me groggy. It still takes like an hour and a half for me to fall asleep. And I have recently noticed melatonin gives me some weird fucking dreams, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And it is not, it's like, they're scary. They're
like
nightmares.
Okay. Didn't have anything last night. This is just my brain doing wild things. Had a dream, right? One of you guys, I don't know if it was one of you guys. I don't want to just front. I don't want to lie to my dream right now, but I think it might have been one of you guys. I was what?
I'm just
Oh.
you're dreaming about us, but you're burying the lead.
I was me and an unknown character were watching Gamecast of a Seahawks and somebody game.
Oh boy.
And Geno Smith kept throwing interceptions, but I kept asking either one of you guys or whoever it was, is Geno Smith still on the Seahawks? Like, or is he throwing picks for the other team? And I never got an answer. And the person who was watching Gamecast with me it was definitely you. Because they were fucking with me. They were like, oh, I don't know, man. So yeah, there was no OGs or melatonin involved.
No, melatonin gives you bad dreams. It leaves you groggy. OG's Sleep Edition gummies, they don't do that. They give you guys a nice, beautiful, relaxing sleep that you wake up from energized and ready to start the day, guys. They're live, they're active, and they've got tons more, whether it be sleep gummies, the Happy Balance gummies, or anything else. As always, you can find them at your local dispensary by checking out ogsbrands.com. You do got to be 21 or older to enjoy.
I was going to send this tweet, but I decided not to because I'm going to use it for a better occasion. I want to tell somebody that they're perpetually online and they need to just. But
I wonder
Bear
who.
520 down. Yeah.
I'll wait for that. He might be one because of Mike Luke.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we accept all of them.
He's a
created
diehard U of H
and
fan,
by
for
them
sure.
I mean diehards.
Mm.
Diehards. If you're not a diehard, there are a ton of benefits. So what are you doing? You get a free shirt or hat every single year you're a diehard and one upon sign up. Plus you get discounts to our events like the one coming up soon, the PHNX Tea Party this Friday. I believe it's $160
For diehards.
for diehards for a
$200 for regular
foursome.
price. It makes economic sense
or
for a diehard.
$120 for diehards for a foursome.
Yeah.
$36 for diehards by themselves. But if you're not a diehard, you can still sign up doing that. But I recommend you become a diehard to come and watch the Suns take on the Kings. Yeah,
Yes.
the Kings. It's 9'11".
Yes.
Domantas Sabonis.
No,
Probably
10 feet tall.
He's 10 feet now. Come watch the Suns take on the Kings. PHNX crew will be out there. We got a night of golf, food, drinks, contest prizes, and so much more. It was so fun last time we did this. It's going to be even more fun this time because Shawn won't be there. Check the link in the show notes to reserve your spot today.
I'll play it cool.
And
for
as
the
I
both of us,
said,
Sean.
diehards, check your Discord for an exclusive discount link. If you're not a diehard, get into the Discord.
I'm catching strays all day today. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's not like what Bo did. Bo tried
Bo's
to put you
was-
on. Bo tried to put you on a poster.
Yeah, Bose was wild.
That was just the most uncalled for
It
thing
was
I have
quick.
ever experienced.
It was fast.
It was literally a drive-by. It was a drive-by.
Yeah.
He just walked past me. I don't want to get into the details of what he
It
did,
was
but
literally a walk by.
it was rude and uncalled for.
Disgusting, some might say.
He's gonna have to make up for it, and he can do that tomorrow.
Can you make up for something like that?
You don't even gotta apologize to me, bro. Make a donation to charity.
Mm.
Do it tomorrow.
Mm.
That's right.
Day of giving. And I know I gave y'all a price yesterday. I do have to raise the price because
Okay.
I thought about it a little more. If we raise $200 on tomorrow's show, I will dye my
Cumulatively.
cumulatively.
As PHNX or as PHNX Sun Devils?
That's the Sun Devils on
Yeah.
our show. Holy shit. The Suns are going to raise $250 in the first 10 minutes of the show.
Whoever donates the most gets to pick the color.
Yes.
So whoever. Wait.
I might
Say
donate-
this one
I
more
might
time
donate
because we're
$200.
gonna
You
always
guys,
clip it.
PHNX people are disqualified from this.
Why?
Because I'm not letting y'all. I'm not letting y'all fuck with me like that. You can donate plenty. I'm not letting you choose my color, the color of my hair.
Okay,
Okay,
but-
so
but
say it
can
one
I-
more time.
Well, hold on. Can I add to the total?
Your donations count half, 50%.
That's messed up.
That's fine.
They don't
I'll
for the
donate
kids.
$400, so we're chilling.
They don't for the
You want
kids.
to donate $400?
I'll let you know how my bets go tonight. And we'll see.
But yeah, tomorrow PHNX Community Day, Day of Giving. All the proceeds from all of our super chats are going to Ryan House. If you don't know what they are, look them up. It's a great organization that Lindsay's a part of that helps kids and families with different diseases and things that they're going through. So definitely check them out. It's really good. And only reason I'm putting my hair back on the line is because it's for a good cause. So if you donate, if the chat donates $200 tomorrow, I will dye my hair. And the biggest donor that is not from PHNX can choose the color
Resident good
kids.
guy, Shawn DePaz,
for the kids.
putting his hair on the line. Well done, buddy.
Thank you.
Let's hope we get $200
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. Let's hope we get more than $200 tomorrow, honestly.
Yeah, if we get to 400, I'll go like half and half. I'll dye, or I'll get a patent or something. Like I'll go crazy on it. Just saying.
I'm here for it. I'm here for when that happens, and then you go to a practice.
Yeah,
That'll be fun.
I'm gonna go full leopard print or something.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Colin Simmons, 5-star.
You got right back into your news
Edge
voice
rusher.
there. All right, guys.
All right, guys.
No, dude,
Yeah.
it's so gross when he gets like deep.
Nasally.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's not even nasally. It's like this sounds so suspect. Can I get like a
It's a ceasefire.
like ceasefire from pause?
Yes.
It sounds so weird when you get so deep in your throat.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
A ceasefire.
Can
from
we do
pause.
that more? Can we ask for ceasefires
ceasefire.
more?
Yeah, you call it out beforehand.
Okay.
Like you, I don't
Because
feel like you.
that's where I get into trouble.
Yeah, you shouldn't
No,
be
yeah,
able to.
if you said that any other time, that's a pause.
You need to. If you acknowledge like that, the whole reason you say pause is because people don't realize what's happening. If you acknowledge that it's gonna be weird before you say it,
Like
then
half the time that I say crazy shit, I'm trying to tiptoe around it so I know I'm going to say something crazy.
and that is always your problem because then you end up pausing at the worst possible
Yeah,
time,
exactly.
and it sounds way worse.
Yeah, it really does.
Colin Simmons.
Yes. So 5-star edge rusher, the number 1 player coming out of Texas. He's a dog. He's an absolute
He's a clown.
beast. He's a clown. Let's go ahead and
In a
pull up
good
the
way.
tweet. He did tweet this past weekend after taking a visit to ASU. Hashtag forks up with the eye emoji question mark. It is scary, but my God, would it be fun to have him coming off the edge for Arizona State football in the future. He was seen talking with Elijah the entire, or I don't want to say the entire, but for a good chunk of practice. Elijah, again, the 2024 commit that we've already talked about today. Can it happen?
Yeah, 100%. Can I rain on everybody's parade a little bit?
Sure.
This is like the girl everybody admires that is just a total tease, a flirt. This is what on his Twitter he does this a lot.
He does.
But I don't think he lies. Like I think he likes to garner attention to get the most, in this day and age, in the NIL age, you gotta boost yourself even when you've let everything you do on the field do the talking.
Yeah.
It does help to kind of boost it up. That being said, I don't think he's bullshitting when he says he was blown away and it was a total vibe in Tempe, because it was, and I think he did have a good time. But today he's tweeting Longhorns, full hookup or whatever, which is fine. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but like he's not just forking up and that's it.
Yeah.
He's hooking too.
He's doing it all.
Yeah.
What do you think, Shawn?
I mean, Shane said a lot of it. Like you can only take this so much from this because this is what recruits do. But getting him on campus to begin with is a massive W. Herm's not getting those recruits here. He's not, and so that just speaks to everything that Kenny and his staff have done so far. But that being said, we've talked a lot. They've had some success already recruiting in Texas. And
Well, we know why
from
Colin
Texas.
Simmons was here. Obviously, Kenny is what he is.
Yeah,
But Simons plays at Duncanville.
Yep.
And who happens to be the head coach at Duncanville High School, the one and only father to Rashad Samples.
Exactly. I said example.
Example?
Exactly. And samples
Example.
together. And it ended up
Sample.
being a real word.
Examples.
Egg samples?
Egg samples.
Shout out Costco.
Shout out Starbucks egg bites.
Could you imagine if
Shout
they
out,
just
I had those today.
if
Shout out
Costco was
Sam.
just handing out egg samples?
Did you? Roasted red pepper?
Well, one of those and 2 bacon.
The bacon Gruyere is the best.
You you have 6.
Yes.
That hurts your pockets, dude.
It's like $16. 16, 14 exactly.
That's crazy for a daily breakfast.
Is it Starbucks? $16 at Starbucks is just too much unless you're buying stuff for like 4 people.
You can
I
go
mean,
to
it's a-
Denny's.
it's
Hey,
a
hey,
big
whoa. This wasn't a let's all gang up on Toju for spending money. Let him live his life. I'm
What's
just
your
saying,
life? I'm just saying,
like,
you can go to
must hit
Denny's
your
and get
pocket.
6.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not
Eggs.
going to Denny's to just like sit down by myself
you
and
look
And
eat
he's
good.
not
eggs.
egg biting up every day.
Yeah, no.
That's fair. I'm just saying.
It's just if I'm feeling an egg bitey day,
Just every day, go to Costco and get an egg sample.
Like when Colin Simons
don't
commits
have
to
an egg,
Arizona
sir.
State, I'm gonna get
It's a
egg
raw
whites.
egg too. It's just like here's
Ew,
an egg.
ew,
So it's a
ew,
hard-boiled egg that they hand
yeah.
that outside.
No, you got to just—they're gonna give you one egg and be like, figure it out.
They're not
Do what you
even
want.
they're not even like related to Costco. It's just the
Or-
guy outside that's hard boiling eggs.
No,
giving
every
them out.
other egg is hard boiled, so you have no idea what you're getting.
Well, you can feel it, or do they feed it to you?
And then they
No.
just hand you an egg in a shell. Like it's
Oh,
an unpeeled
okay.
hard
What are we
boiled.
Well,
talking about
You
here?
can feel the yolk moving around.
They put
That's what I'm
they give,
saying.
they
It'd
give
be
it to you
better
in like a box.
if they fed it to you.
They give it to you in a box, so you don't get to feel it.
That's so funny to me.
Okay.
Getting an egg in a box from a stranger outside of a Costco.
Is it the egg in the shell or just like an egg?
Yeah, it's in the shell.
Yeah.
That's why. That's the game. You don't know if it's hard boiled or raw.
But that's why I like the idea of the guy feeding it to you. So
How
like
did we get here?
with it, hold on, they peel the shell off of the hard boiled ones,
He
and
said,
then
fuck your question.
the regular ones they keep the shell on. So the guy just like if you want an egg sample, you have to take it from You have to use your mouth to take it from his hand, and and then when you bite into it, it could be a nice hard-boiled egg, or it could be just a raw egg, and you bite into a shell.
How did we get here?
I don't know. Rashad samples, egg samples, egg bites.
That was
okay.
such a fucking journey, though.
Yeah, but yeah, no, we talked about the samples connection before and how that could be quite beneficial. Also, the Duncanville jerseys go filthy.
The what?
The Duncanville jerseys go filthy. Like you look at Simmons' profile picture, unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, you have a leg up. I have to imagine Big Samp is gonna be not necessarily encouraging kids to go to ASU, but it's gonna have nice things to say. It's definitely a help. So we'll see.
Let's assume, and I hate assuming, but we're gonna do it for the sake of this game. Let's assume ASU gets Colin Simmons. What does this do for recruiting everywhere now? When you go get the nation's top edge rusher in the 2024 class, and Arizona State is not a Texas, they're not an Alabama, they're not even a Texas A&M. Like big, like recruits like that don't usually come to Arizona State.
Can I phone a friend?
Sure.
Lindsay, you still play Pokemon Go, right?
I'm really interested.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
What are those things you put down to attract animals? He's a lure. That's what he is. He's a lure in Pokemon Go. He attracts more recruits.
Yeah, it's like if the lure was in and of itself like a super evolved
was a
Charizard.
legend.
He's a Groudon lure.
Yeah.
Shout out Groudon. God, great Pokemon.
Yeah, I think you're starting to like, this is gonna sound weird, but like tickle the toes of the sleeping giant. Like you're waking him up a little bit.
Dude, what the fuck was that analogy? That was the fucking craziest thing that you have ever said on this show.
That's definitely not true.
That you have said.
Yeah, it is. He said crazier things.
I'm sure I have. I had.
But that might be the craziest thing he said intentionally.
But it makes sense. You're tickling the toes of the sleeping giant. You're starting to wake him up a little bit. I mean, what other way? How are you going to subtly just kind of ease a...
You're poking?
No, but it's not. It's gentle.
Yeah,
You got a feather? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah,
like when you wake up,
the sleeping giant.
Wake up.
Hey, buddy, it's time to wake up.
Yeah. But now you're whispering into the mic, and that's cool. I would argue that anybody listening to this on audio was made way more uncomfortable by what y'all just did than me saying tickling the toes.
No, I know Red Devil's driving a truck somewhere, and he just heard you say tickle the toes of the sleeping giant.
And then you're whispering into the microphone like this, like it's ASMR.
Hey, I think it was already weird when we started talking about getting force-fed eggs. Not force-fed, but getting...
Don't say we. This was you talking about eggs in boxes getting fed to.
No, I was talking about the boxes. He was the only one talking about a man feeding you an egg.
Why does it have to be a man?
Yeah, did we specify that it was a man?
I guarantee you we did. I know we did. Instead of a guy standing outside of a Costco. So, what were we talking about?
Colin Simmons.
Yeah.
Coming to Arizona State. Yeah, it would definitely, I think just getting him on campus to like, stop whispering.
I'm sorry. I just remembered what we were talking about. I remember how we got there was me saying tickling the toes of the sleeping giant.
Colin Simmons just being on campus for Arizona State, I think without him even committing does a lot. Just getting other 4 or 5 star guys to come see what's going on at Arizona State. And I know there was a quote, I want to say it was on 3, but I don't know exactly who did the graphic of Colin Simmons' quote saying that he was blown away by what he saw at Arizona State. Like that in and of itself goes a long way. Kids that had received a call from ASU or coaches or whatever in the past that maybe brushed it off because of the first year coach or whatever. Like now you're like, okay, you got the best player in Texas, the nation's top edge rusher, talking about how he's blown away.
The best player in Texas is not, the best player in Connecticut.
It's not even the best player in California. It's the best player in Texas, you could argue, is the best player in the nation.
A lot of times.
Like,
for sure.
So I look up Colin Simmons on Twitter, and there's a person named Colin Simmons just live tweeting the Bachelor finale last night. And I was like, no way. And it's not him.
That'd be crazy.
That'd been awesome. I'm like, how do you find time for that?
Yeah.
That would have been dope.
Aaron in the chat, we need multiple 10-win seasons before we can say we're a sleeping giant. I don't think we need to even say that we're a sleeping giant.
I don't think ASU is a sleeping giant. I don't think they have been a sleeping giant. I think they're a large school.
Yes.
That's about it.
And I think Shawn needs to not tickle the toes of sleeping giants.
That's a dangerous game.
My point was...
He's doing the delicate dance.
We got distracted by the ridiculousness of my comment. But my point is that does it make you're not Alabama all of a sudden because you get 1 5-star recruit. But you start like it it starts moving the needle a little bit. Like it starts pushing you in the direction of being a legitimate program that everyone who makes the Sleeping Giant comment thinks that they can become. Now you see plenty of times, like it's not like Jackson State all of a sudden had an influx of 5 stars because they had one commit. Like, and obviously that's a whole different situation, but one 5-star doesn't just mean that every 5-star is going to start committing here. You're not going to turn into a top tier program overnight just because of that, but it puts you closer.
Yeah.
It moves you in that direction. And I think obviously outside of just having a 5-star player on your team who could be amazing, and especially being an edge rusher, can completely change the look of your defense if he is as good as he is expected to be.
Which we really haven't even talked about yet. We talked about what he can do not even as a player.
Yeah, exactly.
What this man could do as a player at Arizona State. I remember when we talked about this last week about what we saw from Clayton Smith and how he's a true edge and a guy that can get off the edge and just like a true on-ball guy. Like ASU hasn't had that in a minute.
Yeah.
Having that with a recruit at a high level that can be here for 3+ years, stop it.
It changes the game for sure. On top of guys that you've already got here.
That wrecks offenses.
Like talking about a guy like Clayton Smith that he's got several years of eligibility left, right? The potential of having him on one side and having a guy like a Colin Simmons on the other side, or an Ashley Williams, who we haven't even talked about, who's had a pretty good spring so far. Like he's been as good as advertised. Like you build how you win football games now, aside from having a dominant offense, which we're used to Kenny seeing, is you've got guys on the edge that make life easier for everybody else on the defense. You have great edge rushers. You have, I don't even want to say a phenomenal secondary, but it can make a good secondary look great when you have 100%. Really good edge rushers.
Yeah. Like it makes, that's it, especially being an edge rusher. You can completely change the look of a team if you are a dominant edge rusher. I mean, can you name me anybody else on South Carolina's Jadeveon Clowney team? Like, but did it matter? Not really. They didn't win a national championship or anything, but still, like, those guys can make massive impacts by themselves. And because it's not like a quarterback. Like, you could put Tom Brady out there, prime Tom Brady on this team, but if he's throwing to the 3 of us, it's not really going to matter all that much. An edge rusher can just do his thing. It would be awesome.
A little off topic, Clayton Smith played wide receiver in high school at like a high level. He was catching one-handed balls on fade
I want to
routes.
see Rowe on offense.
That'd be fun.
That'd be a lot of fun.
I would like to see them have a practice where they switch sides and see what happens.
Bro,
I wouldn't be
the
shocked.
offense would get exposed. I think the defense would hold up
The
more
defense is, the defense athletic.
I mean, it would just, has anyone, I wonder if there's any guys who played quarterback in high school or anything.
I bet there's a ton of them.
I'm sure there is. I'm just like, because you have to have somebody who would be like semi-okay at quarterback, like could throw the ball. I'm not sure that the offense would get exposed because as long as
that's a great question to ask. Though.
Defensive backs can catch the ball a little bit.
Yeah, but they're getting toasted. DBs know what.
My thing is that I think you're more likely to find DBs who played wide receiver in high school than wide receivers who played DB in high school.
I think it's the same.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be fun to talk about. We should ask Jalen next time.
Colin Simmons is a blue chip player, and we got a blue chip burrito for you guys at Burrito Express. Every single day of the week, they make you the best burritos in town, arguably in the state. Shawn would go a step further and say the world.
Yeah, nothing arguable about it.
Okay, there you go.
Can we just talk about, I'm not going to name names, but can we talk about how we put basically the entirety of the ASU media world onto Burrito Express? Like, I take credit for us for that. Like, not like we should take credit for that.
For what exactly?
For putting the world onto Burrito Express.
You mean just other Arizona media? Arizona State media?
I just feel like you saw it a lot more in the world of ASU athletics once we and Daniel and Gata started talking about it. No, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All I'm saying. I had a burrito not right before, but like an hour before our show too. Just now.
Do we still have burritos in the office?
Yes, we do.
Let's fucking go.
I think there's one.
I'm good.
Okay.
I have 2 at home.
I might have to. You have 2 at home.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have Emma's, which is half of one because she didn't eat it because she's Emma. So I have 1.5, and then I took a breakfast supreme for myself.
I feel like I owe Mac an apology.
Why? Exactly?
Yeah. I mean, I don't because I was never the one talking shit about that.
Wait, before you apologize, guys, they got burritos all across the valley. Give them a follow on social at Burrito EXP.
Or I should be more critical of you.
Of who?
Shane.
Why?
One way or the other. Because I mean, I either have to Either I have to be consistent somewhere. I have to criticize everybody for taking burritos home, or not care. Which the right answer is not care, but if you don't really know me, that's not really.
Well,
It is different when you go out of your way and hide them throughout
That's
the
true.
day.
Hold on. I make sure there's enough for everybody.
That's completely fair. That's true.
I do it after everybody's already left.
That's true. I'm just saying. I need to. It's one thing for me to come out here and have an opinion on everything and have hot takes, but I need to be consistent about them.
Yeah.
So sorry, Mac. I'm not gonna say it to her face, but
You're not.
I know this is your background, Shawn, but you need to stop being so white and black with everything.
everything is black and white. We can discuss it over a beer. Maybe that's how I'll apologize.
Yeah.
I'll just buy her a beer. And I like her. I care about her, so I'm not gonna get her any beer. I'm gonna get her a 4 Peaks beer.
Nice.
And I feel like I shouldn't tell Bo about this party. He didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it to be at the 4 Peaks watch along after what he did to me earlier.
That's fair.
So I'm gonna say this quietly for y'all because y'all deserve to know about it. The Cardinals have the 3rd pick in the NHL draft.
The NHL draft?
Let's go.
Wow.
That would be wild.
The Coyotes can't even get the 3rd pick in the NHL draft. They have the 3rd pick in the NFL draft as well. That's a pretty big opportunity. You got a top 5 pick. Pretty big opportunity. So the best place to enjoy it, like we enjoyed the NHL draft last year. Shout out Logan Cooley. Best place to enjoy the NFL draft is at 4 Peaks. NFL draft is on April 27th. Shane won't be there, which means it'll be plenty of fun.
Yep.
4 Peaks 8th Street Pub. I'm struggling.
Everybody's
today, boys.
taking out pay.
I'm struggling.
They're getting shot.
But as always,
Well,
you must be 21 or older to enjoy responsibly.
I did that to him.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that.
Gotcha. Cole in the chat. I think with Kenny and staff pounding the table for NCAA recruiting, I don't care if Simons comes or not. I think our crown jewel of the class should be an easy kid. Maybe that's rushing.
I am going to strongly disagree with you.
I'm not going to strongly disagree. I just think that it shouldn't matter.
Yeah,
I would say
one is
why
better
not
than the other.
have both?
Yeah.
I think you can get your in-state crown jewel while also getting the best player in Texas.
Yeah.
And I don't think one hurts the other. I would argue that they go hand in hand. If you get one, odds are you probably have better chances to get the other.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that's kind of a one-way street. Like, I think if you get
Really
the top player in Texas, you have a better chance of keeping kids in Arizona. But I don't think Simmons is gonna show up and be like, oh, they got all these Arizona kids. That's definitely somewhere I want.
Well, if
to
you
play.
get
I
the
don't think it's
top
gonna be
recruit
much
in
for him.
Arizona, Arizona's not a small state in terms of
No, I know.
like
but
the number one player in the 2024
yeah, but my
class
point
is still in Raiola.
is that he's not going to be, if he makes that decision because of that recruit, it's not going to be because it's an Arizona kid staying in state.
No,
like I don't think the in-state factor really has much to do with
but you
out-of-state
look at
recruits
college, you look at the NFL. Big time players want to go where there's already big time
No,
players.
that I 100% agree with. Like if the top recruit in Arizona is a top 5 recruit in the country, then absolutely. But it's not. Simmons isn't going to come here because the kid stayed home. He's going to come here because he's a good player. It doesn't matter what state he's from.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, we've been talking about potentially getting some recruits. Let's talk about losing the cornerstone of the Conference of Champions, as Mr. Walton would put it. Enoch Boachi has entered the transfer portal.
Oh, here, there's nothing I fear.
Hey.
He's not going to war. He's going to somewhere else to be successful.
Hopefully.
Well, you go to you enter the Hunger Games to be successful.
Yeah, but there's no
Yeah,
chance.
I'm joking. You get your name drawn and you die.
Okay. I mean,
Most
except
likely.
when, the odds are not in your favor.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to be.
They're supposed to be, or are they?
They're supposed to ever be in your favor, actually.
I think Gerald is eating the last burrito out of the corner of my eye, and I think that hurts my soul.
Tragic.
He didn't get one yesterday, though.
You didn't get a burrito yesterday? Oh, that's crazy. Enoch entering the transfer portal. That is now confirmed. Guys, do you have anything to say to Mr. Boachi on his way out?
I mean, you want my serious answer?
I want. Give me the Shawn DePaz answer.
I mean, brother, you know I wrote for you before anybody else did. I was your biggest supporter.
Stop it.
I was.
Biggest supporter?
I think
Yes.
Shane can attest. That was me.
Okay. I'm just not even gonna.
Carry on, Mr. DePaz.
I was just, I always believed in him, and I still think he can be successful. So good luck, Mr. Enoch.
Mr. Enoch.
From a basketball perspective, like, who's gonna play center if Warren leaves? Like, I mean, Duke, obviously, but like, if they don't get a big man to come in
starting,
there's a chance that there is now after having depth at the center position, there is now a lack thereof
Yeah.
at the center position. Yeah, but Gaffney he's not a 5. He's not banging down low like that. Like he's more effective in the corners.
Yeah.
So that it could actually end up hurting basketball, because the reality is obviously if he was amazing, he would have been playing over Duke, but we never really got to see if he made any kind of improvements from last year to this year.
But
he was a top 50 recruit.
Yeah, like, and he has the physical attributes. He is a physically imposing player.
Yeah.
I think he can be successful if he lands in the right situation. Obviously, that's what I hope. Unless he goes to like an in-conference opponent, then I don't want to be that successful. But
that way he could still be a cornerstone of the conference of champions.
Where should
Oregon
he not
State.
go?
Where should he go, or where
Give
will
me a
he
school.
go?
5, 4. 3?
Give me Stanford.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
5,
no disrespect to Enoch,
4.
but that's a very difficult one. Oregon State. I said Florida State earlier, but Oregon State, he's
you
from
guys
Canada.
are both going in conference.
He's from, listen, Oregon State's not good. He's from Vancouver, I believe. So or from British Columbia, I believe. So he is, I might be making that up. He's Canadian, but he might be from Ontario. But he's closer to Canada. in that
I want him to
situation.
be from like New Jersey or
No,
something.
I know,
like
I know he's
nowhere near-
Canadian. I know he's Canadian.
Yeah, he is Canadian.
But I'm not forgetting which part. But he's closer to Canada in that situation. But I did say, we were talking about earlier, I don't know why, I just see him in a Florida State jersey. He just looks like he would wear, or like a Boston College. He's got ACC written all over him.
Yeah, he does actually. What about you, Shane?
Michigan State, Big Ten, baby. That's where he was recruited by
Mm,
originally.
Interesting.
Go play for Izzo out
I
there.
also just feel like he's a Big Ten guy.
Yeah.
That
That's-
or FAU, high mid major.
No one.
As Chris is actually the one that gave me this information first. He DM'd me the on 3, Chris in the chat. And
Huh.
we talked about this for a little bit, but then he pointed out something where I was like, stop. And I hope no one else is thinking this. He said, Marcus still hasn't entered the transfer portal.
Oh my God.
Stop it right now.
I was wrong about Enoch. He's from Mississauga, Ontario. So that's ACC Big Ten country. Also, when you type in his
Brampton.
name, the first picture, what?
Brampton, which is in Mississauga. I was just getting even more specific.
Those are 2 different towns. Yeah, it does say
He was born in
24/7 says Mississauga. Sports Reference says Brampton.
Brampton. I think Brampton's in Mississauga. Or no, it's not.
They're 2 different cities.
Okay.
Don't question me on my Southern Ontario geography. Basically, where I'm from. But I was gonna
thought you
say,
were from
you look
Texas.
up Enoch. You look up Enoch. The first picture that comes up is him in a Michigan State jersey. Interestingly enough. But yeah, obviously, I hope he's successful. I could see him not again close to home. Like I am genuinely very close to Southern Ontario. He could eat at a conference like the MAC.
Yeah.
I could totally see him at a
He should
University
be,
at
with
Buffalo,
his,
Toledo type thing.
Like from a physical perspective, he should be a 10-10 guy wherever he goes.
Yeah,
At the least.
but especially in a non-power 5 mid-major, you could, especially if he can just work on his hands a little bit, because that was always one of his biggest problems. He could be a problem.
Yeah.
He could be a problem.
Enoch, the only thing I've got to say to you is what I wrote in Notion. So long, old buddy, old pal. See you on the other side. What?
See you on the other side?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What?
That's what you say to somebody that died.
Well, his time in Arizona State is
They're jumping
dead.
through a portal.
Thank you. Finally.
I honestly,
You
when I
defend him too much.
No,
Yes,
that's
you do.
That's complete.
I don't get enough defense here.
I agree with you. Maybe I do overcompensate for the fact that he gets shit on by everybody more than he deserves.
Thank you.
A. B. When I think of see you on the other side, I don't think of someone dying. I think of
always do.
I think of like someone like jumping through something and be like, "We'll see if we make it." Like, you're both going off to war. See you on the other side, brother.
Get fucked. Guys, if you enjoyed the content, give us a follow at PHNX _Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony _Totri. You can follow the man with a stash at Shane Deef. You
No,
can
you
follow the other man with a stash at Shawn _DePause.
Tickling the toes of the sleeping giant as always.
God damn it. We will see you Wednesday at 2 p.m. For now, though, peace.